In the few minutes that we have together this morning, flowing to the afternoon, I just want to bring a word of encouragement. And the way I believe God wants to bring some encouragement this morning is through a testimony that I want to share. A season that I've been through. A season that's been challenging, but at the same time has been deeply rewarding, faith-building, and encouraging. Specifically, it's a season of waiting that my wife and I are going through. But in the last year specifically, this season of waiting has been quite discouraging. And I believe that for someone in this room who is going through or has been through a season of waiting, God wants to speak. They're asking the question, where are you, God, in the waiting? Because every time someone leaves you waiting, you ask questions about them. Every time God leaves you waiting, you inherently ask questions about Him. You either logically conclude, hey, God made a promise. I know it can come to pass. I know that He can provide. But for some reason, He's forgotten about it. He doesn't care enough to come through on His word. He's big enough, He's strong enough, He's good enough, but He doesn't care enough to help me out in my situation. And if you allow that thought to sit too long in your soul, a picture of God, a wrong picture of God, will crystallize. The picture of a distant, nonchalant God who can see you go through what you're going through, but somehow not respond. And if you allow that to sit for too long, that will create a distance between yourself and God. Because you can never grow close or intimate with someone who you feel cares less about you than you about them. If you're sitting here this morning and your faith has been affected by a season like this, I just want you to know three things. Number one, you're not weird. Just like we ask questions about everyone who leaves us waiting, we're asking questions about God. Number two, you're not alone. I guarantee if I hit a pause button on our service right now and got you to talk to people around you, you'd find a lot of people with similar stories to you. So you're not alone. But thirdly, and most importantly, but very respectfully, I want you to know you're simply just wrong. He's not small. He's not limited. He's not apathetic. He's not nonchalant. He is loving. He is close. He is powerful as ever. And He is somewhere in the waiting. Because my wife and I have gone through a season of waiting, unlike anything we've experienced before. We're waiting for green cards at the moment. We submitted our paperwork in January 2020, and we got told that unless there are unforeseen circumstances, it should take 1 year to 18 months. 2020. And so now fast forward nearly 5 years, and we're still here waiting. Now, because we are here and our paperwork was submitted in proper time, we're allowed to stay here while it's being processed. But the fear is connected to the fact that if they are rejected, we get 14 days to leave the country. So you know how hard it is to try to build a life knowing that you could be asked to leave in 2 weeks? So where is Jesus when it feels like He's left us waiting? Really quickly, number one, and most importantly, I want you to receive this word. If He's promised it, He'll deliver. If He's spoken it, it's settled. Where is Jesus? He is still on the way. He is still on the way. If He has expressed it to you in faith, you can now stand in faith that it will come to pass. If He's promised it, He will deliver. If He spoke it, it's settled. We think that the way that we see time is the same way God sees time. And so what happens is when we hear a word from God, we attach to that word a parameter that we set. And then we'll hit the stopwatch and we'll just wait for God to come through in the time we deem fitting. And when He doesn't, somehow He's done something wrong. Can I bring so much peace into your journey by reminding you, maybe telling some of you all for the first time, God's time is different than your time. Your time is different than God's time. But God's time is the right time every single time. Number two, write this one down. He is present in your pain. He knows the frustration you're feeling because we do not have a high priest who's unacquainted with your emotions, but we have a high priest who's been through every emotion so He can say to you, I get you. Thirdly and lastly, I want you to know in this season of waiting, he gets the final say. Death doesn't get the final say. Loss doesn't get the final say. Betrayal doesn't get the final say. Getting fired doesn't get the final say. Bankruptcy doesn't get the final say. Culture doesn't get the final say. Cancer doesn't get the final say. He gets the final say. If he promised it, it will come to pass. If he's given his word, you'll see him work. But in the meantime, he's still on the way, present in your pain. I don't know where we're going to end up. As a family, I hope we get to stay in America because I've grown attached to the place. But I can testify to you, through this season of waiting, we have so much faith that no matter where we end up, we just know that what he's promised us will come to pass. And if it takes a few deviations and twists and turns, I know he gets the final say.